Thanks for joining us for the Spotlight on Business on the NCWLIFE channel. One thing that I've learned in talking with business owners here in the Wenatchee Valley is that you have to be able to adapt to change in order to stay in business. Such has been the case for Marcy Collins here at Collins Fashions. They've been in business for over 40 years in the Wenatchee Valley, and today we're going to learn more about the move to downtown from the mall and how business is going and what the future might be for Collins Fashions. It's right here on the NCWLIFE channel, Spotlight on Business.
I'm Marcy Collins, and we're standing in Collins Fashions in downtown Wenatchee. We have had the store since 1980, and I say we. My husband and I started our business over in the Wenatchee Valley Mall.
A Mansfield native, Marcy says with her husband growing up in Chelan and starting his career in the valley, they knew they would be back eventually.
I was going to college to be a teacher, and then Grover was working with the Penny Company. And at that time, in the late 60s, early 70s, you moved a lot. Penny's was a growing company, and you got your training. And so we moved in 14 years about 4 times. And so it was, on the go. So I gave up my college, and we began our family and began living in several places, and he worked his way up into the Penny Company. And so we were in Hillsboro, Oregon, and he had helped open the store out at Washington Square and worked there. And so we just made a decision. We drove home. We were coming down the Kashmir Valley, driving into town, going, and we'd done it dozens of times because we came home all the time. We all, this is home. We felt we need to be here, and didn't have any idea of what else. And my husband and his dad went out golfing one day, and he asked, what do you make with pennies? And he told him, and he went, oh, I think we can do better than that. How about coming home and starting a business? And so that's where we started. He went to the mall, Heber Kennedy, talked to him, and did a survey about what this valley needed, and a children's store is what we needed. So that's why we came home in 1980 and started a business in October of 1980.
Establishing their new business at the Wenatchee Valley Mall, Marcy and Grover began to set their sights on downtown Wenatchee.
For 16 years, we were in the mall, and we began looking for a place downtown because downtown was the downtown place. The mall traffic was going down, it's across the nation. That's the way it is. And so we were looking for a place and we talked to Pat Palmer. We talked to Mills Brothers and several other stores, and they just encouraged us to come downtown. So we did, and signed a lease with Dave Gallatley, which we really appreciated. We've been here since 1996 now in this location. Just coming downtown, we had a 25% increase in our business. Yes, people did not believe us, and we encouraged other businesses to come down from different spots in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee, and some of them saw an increase of 50% of their business. So this is destination shopping down here.
After years as a children's store, Marcy said Collins needed to expand their business by transitioning their inventory to better match the needs of the valley.
The children's business became increasingly more difficult because of certain stores and companies that came into town. People have been asking me to do a women's line here or there and to do some buying for them because they liked my taste, and so I started adding one line after another as you look around the store, and pretty soon the children's was only on one side of the store, and then pretty soon it was just down in the lower level, and then pretty soon we just looked at the figures, and the women's business was just growing and growing and growing because we lost 3 or 4 of our women's stores downtown, and so we just kept adding and building that, and then pretty soon we just made the decision, it's time to just do women's and be focused and not have to be split personality.
Collins is a small women's department store with everything from makeup and jewelry to shoes and clothes for any occasion. We asked Marcy how does she keep up with what's trending in women's clothing and who is her clientele.
I try to do some things that are trendy, but most of my customers come in, and if they're going to invest in clothing, they want something they can wear for several years. They want quality, they want comfort, and they want a brand name they know they can rely on. Say like Tommy Bahama or Nick and Zoe, or there's Not Your Daughter's Jeans. There's just certain lines they know that are quality. They've used them for years, and they want to continue with that and not just be buying something for a season. We really assess our customers' lifestyles. And right now we have a lot of snowbirds that have left or leaving. And so they come in and get ready usually in August and September for that trip because they're going to need warmer clothes. We always keep a group of summer clothes upstairs so we can bring things down when people are traveling. My clients range from 20s to 70s, but most of my focus is like probably 40 to 70. Even the career woman shops with me, women that have meetings and things, conventions they go to, everyday working women in Wenatchee. Husbands love to come in because we carry the Brighton line, and we say we just want to make you look like a hero at home, so they enjoy coming in and shopping for their wife here.
How does Collins continue to compete with the online marketplace?
A lot of our customers are very faithful, and so they'll see if I can get it, if I'm out of it, and if I can't, then they'll go to other resources. And of course, I know many of them, you know, shop online or go out of town to Nordstrom's or to Bell Square or whatever, but continually they come back and tell me, you know, I find better things here, they're not shopping for me, and I say, well, no, because I shop for you. You're here, I know what you like, and when I'm at market, I think of that, and I bring it into the store for you. So that's the personal shopping.
For Marcy, the community in the Valley has made her local business more than just a job in downtown Wenatchee.
Grover started his career here, and we were planning to retire here. And so being able to come home and start a business and have support of friends and family to get your business started, I mean, they all pitched in. The community was great and came and supported us right away. So we've had, it's a great place to do business. You see people everywhere you go. I hear from customers as they come into town, it's so friendly here. Everybody smiles. Everybody says hi. And my husband set a strong tone, always cleaning out in front of the store. Sam did the same thing, so did Pat Palmer. A lot of store owners do downtown. And you say hi to everybody that goes by. Good morning, how's it going? And that builds a strong relationship in your community, and you feel like you're part of a community. And that is what is wonderful about being in downtown Wenatchee. We all know each other, all the shop owners. Our downtown association does a beautiful job of keeping us informed and keeping us together in a united group. And it's just a pleasure to do business here. It's not easy, but it's good. And it's very rewarding.
We asked Marcy what she hopes customers feel when they walk through the door of Collins Fashions.
That this is home, that they're always welcome here with a smile. And whether they buy something or not, we appreciate them walking through the door. We want to take care of their needs. And when we say we love on our customers, we do. And we care about them, and we build relationships, and they become friends. So they're not just a dollar sign. You know, we're helping fill their needs, and they fill ours too. You know, we care about each other. And so that's what building a community and a business is.
From fashions to your furnace, we'll head to Alpine Aire coming up next on the Spotlight on Business on the NCWLIFE channel.
Welcome back to the Spotlight on Business on the NCWLIFE channel. I'm Eric Granstrom. Well, if you live here in the Wenatchee Valley or anywhere in north central Washington, you really need to have one of these guys, a heat pump. It keeps you nice and cool in the summertime and warm in the wintertime. Now, if you have one of those, you're probably going to need to talk to these guys, Alpine Aire Heating and Cooling Incorporated here in Wenatchee. We're going to talk to Tom Ross about how he came to own this company in 2008 and the changes that have occurred over the past 10 years. It's today on the Spotlight on Business on the NCWLIFE channel.
Yeah, my name's Tom Ross. I own Alpine Aire Heating and Cooling, which of course is an HVAC heating and air conditioning company here and serving Wenatchee and north central Washington. We do a lot of work here in Wenatchee, and then of course up the valley, Leavenworth and Lake Wenatchee and Plain are all considered home to us.
In the early 90s, Tom says he was looking to transition from his career in power equipment to a larger industry.
And I was paying my gas bill one day, and I thought, furnaces. And that's how it all happened. Actually, that very day, I called, when I saw that thing, I called that bill. I called the gas company, and I spoke to a lady, and then I spoke to another lady, and then she put me in touch with this guy who hired me. His name was Larry Riggins, great guy. Ended up working for him 3 times over the years. And So with all three of those very different experiences, I feel like I learned a lot about customer service, about operating a business, about equipment. Really, I've just been so fortunate to have had the best training that you could ever ask for.
Having visited the Wenatchee Valley often for recreation, whether it was hiking in the sunshine of the summer months or skiing at Mission Ridge through the winter, the opportunity to buy Alpine Aire was a challenge for Tom, not in a financial sense, he says, but as a way to see if he could build a culture and team.
I started with the business in February of 2008, and it was a smaller company, and just out of sheer willpower, we were able to be successful through those years that were such a struggle, and we were smaller, so it wasn't as big a mouth to feed, and it just gave me a chance to really concentrate on the base, the core of the business from a financial standpoint and a processes standpoint, and kind of define who we wanted to be as a company. It was just like, do I have what it takes to build a culture, to build a team? And that's what the challenge was for me, and I've really, really enjoyed it. And I can't even begin to tell you about the people I'm surrounded with.
Tom says the team at Alpine Aire is a major reason for its success over the years.
Mike and Lynn ran a great operation. And over, a couple of years, some of the first people that were here left. But the one person that has stuck with me all along is our main sheet metal fabricator, guru, installer, Walter Cox. He's just a phenomenal guy. I have a vice president, Carmen McChrystal, who handles all of the HR and financial stuff. And then she's also, we're different personalities. So she's the yin to my yang. I bounce ideas off her, and she just gives me a different perspective. So she's a big help. We have an installation manager, a service manager, and a dispatcher. Both of those two people they just run things really well. And then two salespeople. So it's really kind of developed into more of the office has developed, and then we've got significantly more people in the field.
Clients range from residential to commercial properties, so why Carrier? To Alpine Aire, it's all about quality and loyalty.
It's in my mind, it's the best brand that I can get my hands on. It's just, if that changed, I would like to think that I would change. But as it sits right now, when it comes to the quality of the equipment, the backup that we get from distribution and from the factory, they're, in my mind, ahead of the curve on technology. If that ever changed, I would change. But right now, I'm just 100% confident it's the best gear I can get my hands on.
We asked Tom, what's the biggest thing homeowners need to remember when it comes to heating and cooling?
Change your filters. Change your filters often, I guess. The mistakes that we make as an industry is probably, they say 7 times out of 10, something like that we oversize equipment as an industry. So I think you need to be really careful to do load calculations and put in equipment that's properly sized, because it just makes a difference.
As the housing market throughout the Valley and North Central Washington continues to grow, what can new homeowners do to learn more about the systems they inherit and changes that may need?
Companies like ours and us, of course, are happy to do. We have a planned maintenance program where we'll come out and do a maintenance on a system in the spring and in the fall. Ours is a regular, it's a full maintenance. We spend about an hour, go through everything from top to bottom. When our techs come out, there's no agenda to add something to it or anything like that. We'll notify you if we feel like a part is failing or has failed. I think when you move in, you could just, we have a real estate inspection that we do that's really inexpensive, but same sort of a thing. So folks can kind of decide on their own. Some people, and there's no wrong answer, some people say, well, I'll call you if it breaks, I'm glad to know you're there. And other folks are, like me with the oil changes on my car. Yeah, I'm going to do it every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. And some people do that with their heating systems.
Tom says Chelan County customers should know there are benefits to becoming more efficient with rebates from the Chelan County PUD.
So if we offer a quote to replace a system, we usually offer a good, better, best, fantastic. And so the entry one is kind of gives you an idea of how we would compare with another base system, and then we have one that's upgraded with the air handler and the heat pump, and then the top two would qualify for that PUD rebate. And if you're going from heat pump, and remember Chelan County for this rebate, if you go from a heat pump to a heat pump and achieve certain energy efficiencies, and it's a $500 discount off the heat pump that you just bought. And if you go from an air conditioner to a heat pump, it can be as high as $1,400.
At Alpine Aire, trust and compassion are ideals Tom hopes customers find when working with his team.
If I ever lose sleep, it's when somebody calls up and they're just not happy. And oftentimes it's maybe a bill was, you know, the service ticket was too high, and it might have even just been $150 or something. But I want people to feel like we've got their back and that we really care, because we do. I mean, we suffer the same constraints of every other business. We've got, you know, we can only do what we can do, you know, but that said, we want to do it well, and we just really want to take care of people.
Coming up next on the Spotlight on Business, we'll head downtown Wenatchee to FAHZ Law Firm. It's right here on the NCWLIFE channel.
Welcome back to Spotlight on Business here on the NCWLIFE channel. Dale Foreman and Steve Zimmerman have been practicing law in the Wenatchee Valley since the 1970s, and they like to keep a low profile. We're going to find out why today on Spotlight on Business. Welcome to the law offices of Foreman, Apple, Hotchkiss, Zimmerman, and Bauscher. Doing business right here for a good reason.
My name is Allison Foreman, and I'm an attorney at Foreman, Apple, Hotchkiss, Zimmerman, and Bauscher, a law firm here in Wenatchee.
My name's Dale Foreman. I've lived in Wenatchee since 1975, and I'm a lawyer.
My name is Tyler Hotchkiss. I'm an attorney here at Foreman, Apple, Hotchkiss, Zimmerman, and Bauscher.
My name is Steve Zimmerman. I'm a local Wenatchee guy. Graduated from high school here in 1969 and started practicing law here in 1976. And been here ever since.
From the first time I came here, I thought this is a great place to live. I could go fishing, I could play in City League softball teams and AAU basketball teams, and I just loved it as a young man. And then growing up raising my family here, love it and appreciate it all the more.
I went to college as an English major, and they started reading Beowulf about the first weekend, and I decided poli-sci would probably be a little better fit for me. And I went into poli-sci, and about my third or fourth year of college, I realized there weren't any jobs for poli-sci guys. And I was a Watergate era type, Vietnam era college student, so law school was a good transition for me.
I came here in 1975 and was hired by Gar Jeffers and Jim Danielson, and I practiced with those fellas for 6 years. Then in 1981, I started my own firm with a fellow named Gary Jardine, and we were partners for quite a while. I eventually teamed up with Mike Arch, Steve Zimmerman, Bob Dodge, and Scott Volan, and we practiced for years. And then we started our current configuration about 2005, and so I've been here practicing law now for 42 years with several different groups of people, but throughout all of the time I've loved Wenatchee.
The Bar Association in Chelan-Douglas County was so small when I got here. I bet there weren't 50 people in the Bar Association. So all the lawyers knew each other, you know, and it forced you to practice law in a different way than you would in a big city, because you couldn't just trash and burn the other guy. You had to develop relationships and do things the right way. And I met Dale early on, and we hit it off. We've been friends and partners ever since.
So picking partners is sort of like picking a spouse. You meet somebody and you either hit it off or you don't. And as time goes by, you find out the strengths and the weaknesses, and there's no magic to it. It's just people. And you find the people who like you and you respect their ability, and you think that if you join together, you're going to be stronger with them as a team than by yourself. And I've found that 2 heads are better than 1, and 5 or 6 heads are better than 2.
As he looks toward retirement, which I don't think is anywhere close for him, I don't think he'll ever actually retire, he looked to getting new generations involved. I happened to meet his son all the way back at Harvard College in Cambridge, Massachusetts, went to law school, and when I graduated, I came back and turned out to be the only one of his children or in-laws, daughter or sons-in-law, who wanted to do law. So I joined him, and we gathered a few more attorneys and started a new partnership.
I focus on litigation, so I represent businesses and individuals against other businesses, and I represent individuals and businesses against insurance companies, big business, and the government.
The business aspect of law has always been interesting to me, so I initially started out with a lot of business advising, doing a lot of work in the ag industry, which is very common here in the Valley. I also enjoy planning and helping clients transition their businesses to the next generation. That ties in with estate planning, so I've added that to my practice. And the last piece of my practice, in addition to tax, business, ag advising, and estate planning, is estate litigation. So if an estate plan goes wrong, or there's not one in place, or maybe a less than great estate plan was done 30 years ago and never updated, that can cause problems when someone passes away and there's a disagreement about how the assets should be divided or how a business should pass. So I help clients navigate those very expensive and fraught waters.
The typical clientele is a business or individual who has been hurt, who has been financially wronged, or who has been discriminated against in either a work setting or a personal setting. It's the hardest thing and the best thing about it, which is, you know, in some ways the odds are stacked against you. You know, underdog mentality sometimes fits certain personalities, and I think it fits me well as well. It's our job to find the quickest solution to the problem that we can, and the lowest cost solution for the client. And so it's part of my job to explain to them what the advantages and disadvantages to a full-length trial. There's something called arbitration, which is a shorter process, or even mediation, which is a process related to voluntary settlement, which can shorten the process for everybody and bring about a quick resolution, which is really what everybody wants, right? They just want what they're entitled to, and they want it as quickly as they possibly can, and we understand that.
And we intentionally do keep a low profile in the community. We're very sensitive to the fact that some people don't like to advertise that they're going to a law firm. We don't have a big building with marble arches and a golden staircase. There's not a big sign outside that says, "You are coming to a lawyer today." We like to keep our physical presence discreet as we are with client information.
I practiced with a fella one time, and his idea was different than mine. He wanted to, we built out a new office for that particular law firm, and he was real intent on having leather furniture and big brass furnishings and a lot of bells and whistles, because he said he wanted people to feel like they'd arrived when they got in his office. I've always felt like it's more important that they feel like they're going to get some help when they get to my office.
Well, most people in Wenatchee are conservative. They're understated. They don't flaunt what they have acquired. And in my mind, that's a good way to be. And so we didn't want to spend so much on an office building that we had to charge higher fees to pay for the office building. So we got this old building. This used to be Wenatchee Paint and Glass downstairs. And we bought it in 1998 and did a substantial remodel, but it's not fancy. It's just a good old solid building. I think it was built in 1908, and so we bought it when it was 90 years old, and we've now been here another 20 years, and it'll probably last another 100 years.
I don't want people to feel that intimidated or that we're smarter, that we somehow have the keys to the kingdom for them. You know, we don't. I kind of look at myself as I'm kind of a minesweeper. I know where the traps are, and I can get you through them.
Nothing can compare with hard work. There are a lot of people in the world who are smarter than I am, but there are not a lot of them who work harder when they're trying to get something accomplished. Well, we will always be honest, we will work real hard, and we will be a zealous advocate. And what the law requires of a lawyer is to do your very best to aggressively, zealously represent your client, but not to cheat, not to lie, not to do dirty tricks.